I'm very concerned about having him in charge of the nuclear weapons because I think his response, his visceral response to attack people on their appearance, short, tall, fat, ugly. My goodness, that happened in junior high.
I never attacked him on his look, and believe me, there's plenty of subject matter right there. That I can tell you.
But he had made highly personal remarks about the former Hewlett-Packard boss Carly Fiorina and the only woman in the race. In a magazine interview, he'd said, "Look at that face. Would anyone vote for that?"
I think women all over this country heard very clearly what Mr. Trump said.
Probably I did say something like that about Carla. I'm talking about persona. I'm not talking about look, although when I get criticized for my hair, which isn't that bad, you know, you've seen me, right? It's not that bad. I view a person who's flat-chested is very hard to be a 10, okay?
I have such respect for women. I cherish women. And women really, you know, remember last week, a couple of weeks ago with Jeb Bush on women's health issues? He said he's not going to fund them. I said, why aren't you going to fund them? Ultimately, he recanted and he took it back. But when you make that statement, that's a bad statement. And Rubio feels the same way, so many others. I will be the best thing that could happen to women. I have great respect and admiration for women. I've had women long before in the construction industry. Pregnancy is never, it's a wonderful thing for the woman. It's a wonderful thing for the husband. It's certainly an inconvenience for a business.
The last couple of years, I go out with somebody, and she's like 21, and she's talking about, you know, what are you doing? And she's studying algebra. And,
so what?
And it's like, it was always embarrassing for me to walk in. It's too young. 30 is like a perfect age.
Absolutely. She has enough life experience.
Until she's 35.
Yeah. Well, that's too much life experience.
What is it at 35, Howard? It's called checkout time.
And some people, when they have pressure, don't eat. And some people, when they have pressure, eat too much, like me, but like Alicia.
She was the worst we ever had. The worst, the absolute worst. She was impossible. You know, she gained a massive amount of weight, and it was a real problem.
There is nobody that has more respect for women than I do.
In one commentary from 2008, Trump showered praise on a certain politician, Hillary Clinton. Just listen.
Well, I know her, and she'd make a good president or a good vice president.
But
one-time friends, now in a heated battle reaching fever pitch.
She's the devil. Hillary Clinton is a bigot. Well, I think the only card she has is the woman's card. She's got nothing else going. And frankly, if Hillary Clinton were a man, I don't think she'd get 5% of the vote. I think Hillary would be a terrible president.
Such a nasty woman.
Trust fund. It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Well, I know her, and she'd make a good president or a good vice president.
But
all right, look, number one, I have great respect for women. I was the one that really broke the glass ceiling on behalf of women more than anybody in the construction industry. And my relationship, I think, is going to end up being very good with women. Plus, they want to see a strong country that's secure, and she's not going to be able to do that. Look at Benghazi. She was sleeping when the phone call came in. She did the ad on the phone call at 3 in the morning. She was sleeping. She was sound asleep.
I mean, there's nobody cherishes and nobody respects women more than Donald Trump. That I can tell you. Nobody. If I were running The View, I'd fire Rosie. I mean, I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face of hers. I'd say, Rosie, you're fired. We're all a little chubby, but Rosie's just worse than most of us. But it's not the chubbiness. Rosie is a very unattractive person, both inside and out. I mean, I won't do anything to take care of him. I'll supply the funds, and she'll take care of the kids, right? So it's not like a big deal. You know, it's not like I'm going to be walking the kids down Central Park.
You believe it? Me. Nobody respects women more than Donald Trump. That I can tell you. Nobody.
I would create a TV show for you where all you did was just judge women.
Now, that may be the best idea of all.
It's a simple thing. It's a half hour, and we strip it out all over the country.
I would say I'm the all-time judge.
Which I don't... Look, nobody respects women more than me. Greatest person ever was my mother, believe me. The greatest. Nobody's going to be better or do more for women than Donald Trump. That I can tell you. That I can tell you.
President Trump, who once said that nobody has more respect for women than I do, sent his Vice President Pence, down here to the Senate to break a tie on a bill that would allow states to discriminate against women's health providers. The next time the president says no one has more respect for women than I do, I would ask the women of America to not look at his words but his actions, because this is just another example where the president has said one thing, but his policies do exactly another.
Kim was on The Apprentice. She came on The Apprentice.
Understood, but I'm
last
talking as a
season,
physical
and,
beauty.
Now, okay, let's pretend it's not Kim. Does
Right.
she have a good body? No.
Of course.
Does she have a fat ass? Absolutely.
Right. In other words...
And if it weren't Kim, they'd say, wow, I don't want to go out with her.
I love you. I respect you. There's nobody I respect more.
Kellyanne is great, but she's married to a total whack job. I think she must have done some number on him, Ainsley. I don't know what Kellyanne did to that guy.
You own this pageant, you go over, you're meeting the girls and stuff. One of them comes up to you and says, Mr. Trump, you're a very sexy man.
You're a beautiful man. You have fantastic hair.
Well, you're a powerful man. Right? Right? You're a powerful man.
Right.
I want to sleep with you. Now, you're not the type that would say no.
I don't want to hurt their feelings.
Right. No, but I mean, you see a beautiful woman, you want to have that. You're a guy who likes to have everything, right?
Well, couldn't that be construed, however, as
conflict?
Yes.
I don't see it as a conflict.
It could be a conflict of interest, but it's the kind of thing you worry about later.
Oh, I see.
You tend to think about the conflict a little bit later on.
The question is, how can it not be construed?
No, I mean, some of these foreign girls, Mr. Trump, in my country, we say hello with vagina. And,
well, you could also say, as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now,
I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else, and no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting.
Right,
I want to make sure that
like
everything is good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible-looking women.
You were here long before any of us were here. Although we have a representative in Congress who they say was here a long time ago. They call her Pocahontas.
In an interview on a conservative radio show, Roy Moore did his best imitation of Donald Trump, saying, I have great regard for women. I regard women's rights. I regard women's rights. That, of course, was just as much of a lie as this was.
Nobody has more respect for women than I do. Nobody.
Roy Moore followed Donald Trump's example to threaten to sue his accusers, a threat that is every bit as much a lie when Roy Moore says it as when Donald Trump said it during the presidential campaign.
Nothing ever happened with any of these women. Totally made up nonsense to steal the election. Nobody has more respect for women than me.
Nobody?
Nobody.